welcome to Hockey Night in Australia. I am your host, Courtney Canaston, and I'm joined by Sean O'Connor and our very special guest this week, Alex Tétreault of the Canberra Brave. Good evening. How are you both?
Very good, very good. Thanks for having me on board.
Thanks for coming on, Alex. Yes, I'm going well as well, Courtney. It's been a busy week.
It sure has. Look, it's been a busy couple of weeks. Thank you to the fans joining us this week. And sorry we missed seeing you last week. Alex, thank you for postponing to this week. Look, we've got some big things to cover. And I, off the top of the bat, I would love to talk about AIS with you, Alex. Tell us, how have you found that experience so far?
It's hard. It's hard to put into words. I think one, we never thought that. Well, I never thought that within my playing career with the Brave that we'd be able to step out of the dungeon of Phillip and into a facility like the AIS. I think we're super grateful for the work that the management and everyone else behind the scenes have done to allow the players to play there. And look, that first weekend was something that I'll remember for a long time, in front of 3,000 people, and the atmosphere. You never know what the atmosphere is going to be like in a new rink. But look, everyone was super into it, and I think not only for the Canberra players, but even for the adrenaline players. I spoke to a fair few of them, and they were just as excited to have the opportunity to play there. And look, credit to them, they played a really good game. But look, I think it's just really excited to get back in there tomorrow and on Sunday.
Excellent.
Yeah, I spoke to a few of the players after the game on Sunday, and a lot of them were saying that very first game on Saturday kind of felt like an away game almost. It was something completely new.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, look, you just want to soak in every moment, particularly on that first game. There's only ever going to be one first game at the AIS. And I remember I do my off-ice warm-up, maybe 40, 30 minutes before we get on the ice. And I started doing my stretching and juggling just near the boards, and you can see the fans start to kind of come into the inner bowl for the stadium. And we keep looking out there, and some of my mates and some of the guys next to me, they're like, "Hey, go look outside. It's packed." And it was a full house, and even just stepping out there with all the lights, it was I think it was just a really good show as well, and awesome to see that much publicity about the league. Not just, I think it was like everyone's saying, it's not just about the Brave. It's showing that Australia's got really passionate hockey fans. And again, just getting lots of messages from guys on different teams saying that they're super keen to come to Canberra, which is unusual because it's usually the opposite.
Yeah, that old chicken wire. I don't think anyone will forget about that anytime soon.
Yeah.
On that, Alex, I do remember seeing quite a broad range of fans too. So I know a few Newcastle fans came down, even though it was Brave versus Adelaide. I think there were some Brisbane fans. Like it really attracted.
There was plenty of Ice Dogs and Bears jerseys around the place as well.
Oh, excellent! See, I love to hear that, and that's what's going to, I think, enhance the footprint of the AI is when we can sell out that rink over and over, which I think has happened again this weekend. Is that right, Sean?
Yeah, Saturday is sold out already, except for VIP, and then Sunday's already filling up as well. So the demand is definitely there. And we even heard from the ACT Chief Minister today talking about the fact that the concept is proven, the demand is there, time to build a new rink.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it reminds me of when the NHL came to Australia. I think it was last year, and I think it was more than people going there to support one team or the other, just fans who love the game. And I think that's what's most important. And you're seeing a really diverse crowd flood into these games. And ever since the first weekend, I've heard of so many people that have never gone to a game before, and they're talking to me like, "Hey, have you ever seen hockey games before?" and so it's really cool, and you see on all the Canberra community notice boards, and Canberra's popping off about it, and which is really cool to see.
That's excellent.
Yeah, you even get to see new people who haven't really been to hockey before posting about the game last week or the other weekend on YouTube and stuff like this. Like, people there that were experiencing it for the first time and absolutely loving it. So,
it's awesome to see. Absolutely, and I think even to get them into the game on the Sunday, after 4 or 5 goals, that's goals are great, but a couple of fights in there as well. Got fans on their feet, and I remember at the end when we were skating around and doing the lap when we won, and there was a large back of fans, and they looked like rugby fans. They all had rugby jumpers on, and I thought it was just really cool seeing other sporting fans come through to the game and just get super into it.
That's fantastic. Just before we went live, Sean threw up a photo that get him to grab now, just of the view basically from behind the net. So what I'm wondering, Alex, is did you get a moment just to take that in? So maybe when the play was at the other end, do you get a chance just to have a quick look around and take in those moments?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, how's that picture? It's not bad, hey? I think when it really hit was when Kai scored that first goal. Obviously it was quite tense up until that moment. We're down 3-0 as well, so we needed a spark, and what a player and what a guy to do that for the team. Like if anyone bleeds brave, it's Kai. And when he scored, it was just electric. Like I couldn't hear myself think at all. Just a really, really cool moment. And it was just really, really loud. And you never know in these bigger stadiums as well how it's going to sound, or if it's going to be a bit dull. But they turned it up.
That's brilliant.
And then you guys just kept going on that Sunday as well. You just kept on that avenue of lots of noise.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, even the first game, it's hard to shut down the emotions completely. It's they're always going to be there regardless. So I think Sunday we really were able to settle into the game that we like to play, and I think particularly over the last few games, the way that the guys have started to come together even more, and the chemistry that we're starting to build, and you can see that the engine's starting to run, which is great.
Fantastic. I think the middle to the end of the season always gets that bit extra exciting across the league, because everyone's finding their feet. The last imports have arrived from finishing their season. So it's kind of, we say it every week that there's always going to be exciting hockey, but we're, as we talked about, it's middle of the season already, and it's just going to keep getting better from here. So it's pretty exciting.
And from this position, Alex, how does it sound to you on the ice?
How does it sound? Look, it's it's fine. I don't really think about it too much. I think it would be worse as an opposing team, I guess, coming in. But look, if you've been to the Brave Cave, that's a pretty loud barn. Look, you don't think about it too much.
Fair enough. So I do have a couple of other photos that I'll just quickly go through. So this was the view from the stands. Absolutely packed out. Absolutely love to see it. And then, obviously they broke the record in the very first game. Almost 3,000 people, which backed up again the following night by another very large number, which was not too far off that. So, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Even at the, I remember we were ready to go, ready to get out for warm-ups, and I think we had to wait another 20 to 30 minutes before going out there. So they delayed the game because they weren't able to get people in quick enough. So that was the first time we experienced something like that. There'll always be tweaks, on debut games in different rinks. So I think, this weekend should see things go a little bit smoother. Yeah.
There's a really interesting comment from Anthony Russell just saying that we have the equivalent of a decent-sized European team, and if the Brave manage to keep ticking over 2K, that's a higher average attendance than half the teams in the UK.
Yeah.
So
that's a good league, the AIHL. I've been to a Brayhead, or now the Glasgow Clan. They've got absolute phenomenal support over there. So, yeah,
that's amazing. I think that's crazy to see. I think it's just a testament, not even to Canberra in general, but just people in Australia love their sport, regardless of what the sport is. And then you introduce hockey, which is, in my biased opinion, a lot more exciting and a lot more entertaining than maybe some other Australian sports. I know that some
and it's not just happening in Canberra, right, Alex?
Yeah.
It's happening all over the country. Like, we're seeing packed barns in Newcastle, in Brisbane, in Perth, in Adelaide.
It's amazing,
It's really coming along. And we're going to see another packed barn tonight in Melbourne as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Even going to Newcastle last week, it was really loud in there. It was awesome to see. All the seats are filled. So I think it's great for the sport. I think regardless of whether it's being played in Canberra, Adelaide, Perth, or wherever, it's just really a privilege to be able to play in a league that's being really well supported and getting on the nose boards.
Yeah, I'm even hearing arenas now getting real busy at game time, so that's fantastic as well for the runners.
So just on the game in Newcastle, let's throw to the results review from last week. I think one of the pairings of games that stood out to me as an excellent result is Lightning over Mustangs, seeing them win both games at home. And those that have been watching the podcast over the last few weeks, I keep saying Lightning are a dark horse, and they have a lot to give, and I think they proved that against a really solid Mustangs team. So that matchup I thought was really that's quite a result. So, Sean, do you have a highlight from the weekend?
Yeah, I have to say my highlight of the weekend was definitely Adelaide going to Perth and splitting the weekend, and they could have won the Sunday game as well. Like, at one stage I was thinking, wow, they're going to come away with 3 wins from their last 4 games against Canberra and Perth. So that would be pretty massive. But even with just the 1 win, that first game, I saw a different side to them than I've seen at other points this season and last year. It was a time when they were in the lead. They so often sort of falter towards the end of games and let in goals, and then they go to, forces overtime and they lose in overtime. This was something different. Rather than that, they end up standing up, holding on, and then increasing their lead and killing off the game. It was impressive.
And Alex, you mentioned the North Stars game. So unfortunately not going in your favour against Newcastle. But what I'd like to know is, how do you find those 1-game weekends? So historically, a lot of the time we've always had double headers, so a lot of teams will play twice in a weekend. So how did you feel having just that 1-game weekend?
I think it's different. You'd like to play 2 because you have more chances of getting points as well, and you get into rhythm, more of a flow. I think just like we saw against Adelaide at the AIS, it unfortunately didn't go our way on Saturday, so you can regroup quite quickly and then and go back to battle the next day. But when it's just 1 game, you really go back to square one, and you look at the following week, which is fine. And look, it'll happen. That's part of the schedule. Yeah.
So we might take a quick look at where the standings sit now, because I think we would have had a bit of movement on the weekend from memory. So
yeah, a little bit of movement. The Ice still retained top spot and actually increased their lead at the top to 10 points, which is quite impressive considering only just a few weeks ago it was like 3 points. Yeah, the Lightning have now jumped up to second from fourth, and the Mustangs have dropped down to fourth. The Thunder were able to hang on to third with their Sunday victory, and the bottom half of the table haven't actually moved. However, the Adrenaline are now right in touching distance with the Rhinos and Brave, and the North Stars are still in between, knocking on the door to get into the top four.
I feel like North Stars Brave is always a ladder rivalry. Every season, it's always those two teams are competing for spots and move up at sort of the same time. So I wouldn't be surprised as the season goes if we see both of them end up in that top four and push through. So that'll be interesting. Alex, do you find as a team, do you pay much attention to the points and the standings, or are you just focused on the next game?
Look, I don't personally take any attention to it. You know, you'll skim through it and ensure that as a team, you know, we'll have a rough indication. But I think in the past, I've learned that you focus too much on either being, you know, we have to be in first or second or third, or distracts you from what's right in front of you, which is just the next game, and that's what's most important, particularly midway through the season. Obviously, trying to make the cut for finals, but there's a lot of good teams this year. You can't go into any game thinking that it's a walkover, and I think that's a really good thing. I think, you know, having the two Sydney teams out this year, it's twofold. So it's disappointing, obviously, for the fan bases and for the players that aren't able to participate this year. But I think it's increased the competitiveness of the league. So which is great. Night in, night out, you get to play against good teams, really good players. But ultimately, we don't try and focus too much on the standings. Just try and get points in every game that we can.
Yes, the standings can always be a bit deceiving in the league. As mentioned before, you know, not every team has played the same amount of games in this league, and that always happens like that. So you often have teams catching up or jumping out ahead early. So definitely doesn't always indicate the true nature of the league. And I mean, you look at last season, the Brave had a fantastic second half to the season and just kept climbing. So anything can happen.
Look, you mentioned players that aren't playing, and we do have quite a few players from Dogs and Bears that have shifted through. So, which brings me to Tommy Stephen, who's come over to the Brave this year, and he hit a milestone this week of 50 goals, which was cool. Do you guys celebrate with him as a team? Like, were you aware that he hit 50, or like, what do you do when your teammates hit those milestones?
Yeah, so I might have to correct you there. I think Tommy's been on the team for a couple years now. I think he came either last year or last year. I know he'll nag me for that one. But yeah, obviously, you know, personal achievements are great to celebrate with your mates. Look, I was fortunate to play with Tommy at under 18s and under 20s Australia team, and then we end up being on the same team, winning a good old cup together, 7-8 years down the track. So we always, you know, regardless of who it is, try and celebrate personal achievements. But I think the guys that have been, for any team, have been part of winning a championship. I think, you know, when you really buy into what that feels like and working towards that common goal, these are just little pats on the back along the way, I think. So when you lift that trophy, it's it's all worth it.
Yeah, I love that. And look, just shout out to Jackson Lane and Yoka Modigan as well, both hitting 100 games, the other 100 points. That's a big effort in this league. So that's a lot of seasons behind them and a lot of grit to get there. So I do enjoy celebrating the milestones. It's always fun.
Yeah.
And which we'll jump over into the scoring leaders too. We'll see where they are at. And look, it's no surprise that Hiko Saka is still sitting at the top. He is the one that I will bet every week will get points. And I'm happy to see a North Star break into the top 5 this week with Francis Drolet. And look, he had quite a performance on Saturday with 4 goals. And talking to him after the game, credits his extraordinary line mates. And I think I love that about players that know that it's not just them, it's the team around them that lift them up. And so we're quite familiar with the rest of the names on there. Any surprises for you, Sean?
No surprises at the moment. I did really enjoy Kanich's performances last weekend, as well as the weekend before in Canberra on the Sunday, especially. He's really coming along for the Brave. But Mark Hopwood here has actually got a whole thing about Funsey getting a goal, and I must admit the goal was phenomenal.
It was. The crowd went mental.
It's always great to see Funsey and other defensemen score goals. Alex, have you scored too many goals in your time?
As a goalie? No.
Yeah.
Negative. No. In the off season, I might jump on as a winger.
That's cool.
Get a couple goals there, but look, that's I'll just try to stop them and keep them out of the net. I think that's more than enough to focus on.
Yeah, well, I mean, this season speaking of milestones, you set your own milestone this season of 2,000 saves in this league. So that's a huge number of goals that you have stopped.
I think it was before the Saturday AIS game. I sat there and it was exactly 10 years to that day that I started my first game. And I believe it was against Newcastle. Time moves quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that photo. I think it was in the Canberra community group which had you sitting in the stands at the top there at Phillip when you're a youngster watching on, and then obviously now full Brave championship winner, multiple championship winner, international goaltender. I mean, the world's at your feet.
It's just look, every year you go back to zero, right? So you obviously it's all part of the journey, and you just get to play a new season with new mates and try and figure out a way to win and create more memories. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's jump over to the fixtures for the upcoming weekend, because I'd love to chat about the upcoming games in Canberra. So Brisbane Lightning are coming down, and have you got any expectations of like how they're going to play and what you're going to face with them, Alex?
Yeah, look, they're a really good team. Again, like I said before, you can't go into any game thinking that you're expecting a certain outcome. They've got really good local goaltending there, and from what I've seen as well, they've really gelled as a team, and rightfully so in that second spot. So, but at the end of the day, like there's only so much you can analyze of what somebody else is doing, and so what we really just try and focus on is what each player can do to play 100% and then come together collectively and win as a team. So look, it should be a really fun weekend.
Yeah, and speaking of, I think Canberra just announced a new import signing as well, a Swedish guy, Nils. It should be exciting to have someone new to play with this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's tough when you don't get imports too early, but on the other hand, I think it lets the core group of locals within the team gel together and build a really good base and foundation, and then the imports kind of come in and click onto that system instead of the imports running the show. And then if something happens to the imports, well, then everything falls apart. So I think we saw that a little bit last year. We were on the similar tracks last year, and it's a double-edged sword, right? So we might get a few losses out of that, but again, I think the team culture and again setting those foundations early on allows us to run through towards September and look towards finals with a really solid team.
Yeah, excellent. Look, to be honest, the two Brave games will definitely be the ones I'm tuning into on the weekend personally. Newcastle having a break this weekend, so I I think between those games and tonight's derby that kicks off in just a little over an hour, probably the 3 games I'm most excited to watch. Do you have anything you're keen to see, Sean?
Yeah, I'm really keen to see how Perth go on the road over in Melbourne this weekend against the Ice and Mustangs. Mustangs need to really bounce back this weekend. They're really going to be aiming for a victory tonight, especially to paint the town orange. But the Perth, they've had one roadblock before this season and they bounced back. It'll be interesting to see if they do it again. Like, that resilience is really important for a team, especially a team that's trying to aim to win the cup. So yeah, that's what I'm most interested to see. And, Adelaide and Rhinos, I mean, Rhinos are in very poor form, to say the least. Hopefully they can bounce back, but equally Adelaide are really craving a home victory.
Could really go either way for both teams.
Yeah.
So that leads us into your favourite section of the podcast, Sean, our predictions.
All right. Let's bring up the first predictions. This is biggest good surprise. All right, guys, biggest good surprise. What's one thing that's going to be surprising this weekend that will be good news to people? Courtney?
Look, how can I not support our guest and say I would love to see 2 Brave wins at AIS?
I'll second that.
Well, I must admit, my biggest good surprise this weekend is the Mustangs to win the derby tonight. They'll go up 2-1 for the season, heading into the 4th one. And I think that will be a big surprise, considering the Ice form. Like, the Melbourne Ice have been on a rampage recently. So, yeah. That's what I'm picking.
Love it.
All right. Second, Goldhorn Breakers. All right. Who this weekend is going to score the most goals? Can be a team, can be a player. Alex?
Look, it's definitely not Bailey Cabara.
He is set to get a milestone this weekend, though. He's 2 games away from 150. So if he plays both games, he'll, big milestone for him.
I'm just kidding. That's tough. Again, I'm going to say, hopefully it's not against us.
Courtney, what about you?
My go-to every week, particularly because they have 2 games, will be Yuhiko Osaka of Perth Thunder. He is Mr. Big Time. He gets goals. He knows how to make plays. He knows how to work within his the unit and the systems to get those points. So, I'd be shocked if he's got anything less than 4 or 5 points by the end of the weekend.
Fair enough. I am going to do a slightly different prediction, and I'm going to go for the Rhinos and Adrenaline doubleheader this weekend. They're going to produce the most goals this weekend.
I like it.
It's going to be excitement in the Adelaide Arena.
I also think Dominic Kanich is gonna light it up this weekend as well. He's told me that he's going to do that. So,
nice. Yep. Man, he has been dialed in ever since he arrived. Him and McNally, especially in the very first few games, they just looked like they were just in sync. And he's just continued that since. A really good pickup by the Brave this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. A great hockey player and a great guy as well. And has plugged into the team really, really well. And just grateful that these guys can come along and come into Canberra and help us. I
was also very impressed by Noah Harvey and the other youngsters, how they came in the other week too. And they slotted in and have been doing a great job.
Yeah, it's really cool to see these young guys that not so long ago, again, were coming to Brave games and getting autographs and photos with players, and then you're training with them and you're playing with them. I'm starting to make me feel old. But then I remember that I'm not Kai. So he's been in the league for 30 years now.
All right, we'll go to the third prediction, which is the blue line defenders. All right, which team or which goaltender is going to concede the least amount of goals this weekend? Courtney?
Oberoi has stood out week in and week out as a phenomenal tendy. He can face up to 50 shots and generally it's only one or two that go in. So I think he's probably going to have a great game. But once again, Alex is just an incredible goaltender and he's here and I can't not support you. So yeah, look, between Oberoi and Alex, I think we've got two really exciting tendies in net this weekend.
Alex?
Ooh, I'm gonna be biased and go with my boy Alexi. So yeah, I reckon he's been playing solidly, and I think can expect a good weekend from him.
Speaking of, how has it been not having Alexi by your side this year?
Yeah, it's been different, and not in a good or a bad way. I think it got to a point where we both needed to part ways as well. Just didn't know it was going to happen so soon. But look, we keep in contact regularly, and we're really good friends. So it's also provided opportunity to work with Joel Hasselman, who's come over from New Zealand, and is just a great guy and good goalie. And I think it's interesting when you look at goalie duos or tandems as well, and finding that balance of being really competitive, but also you have to be pretty good friends, and that working relationship is super important, and something that Lexi and I think that was a massive benefit of working together. And look, it's really promising so far working with Joel. It's been awesome. So looking forward to see what else we can achieve this year.
Yeah, nice.
Just on Alexi, you had the chance to partner back up again earlier this year for Nationals. Did you find everything just clicked back into place even after the break?
100%. Yeah, it was awesome. It was cool to reunite at Worlds and get another chance to play together. And it just takes no mental effort to play with him. We're both super respectful of who goes in, and just try, if you're not playing, you're supporting the other guy, and it's none of that fake I'm happy for you. You genuinely want the other guy to succeed, and that doesn't come along too often, because it is such a competitive position if there's only two of you. So spent a lot of time together throughout camp and in Serbia, and it was great.
Love it. Now, we have a photo of the new artwork on your helmet. Can you tell us just a little bit about the artist and the story behind it, and just why you picked the elements that you did?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started off in, I think it was in October last year, and we ordered the masks to be custom made in Canada or in the States, and then they got shipped to Finland. So Alexi actually got the same mask, different design, but from the same artist. And he had his masks in the past done by this painter who paints top league goalies masks in Finland. So we were super grateful for the opportunity for him to paint it. Look, I just started throwing a few ideas to him. And all I knew was the color schemes that we were going for, and I really love the tats on the chin. I think that's really cool, and wanted it to be simple but crisp and clean. And I was just getting the there was, in terms of the timeline of finding out whether I was playing for the national team or not. I tried to manifest it a little bit and put 2 golden kangaroos on it before I got selected, which was a bit bit hopeful, but worked out for the best. And then look on the top, it's got some a replica of some Indigenous artwork that was done for the Brave last year. And then on the back, just the Quebec flag and Australian flag, and the name of my uncle who passed away in 2020. And I just thought it's good daily reminder as well that he's always there.
I love that. Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks very much.
So, tell us a little bit. Well, I want to jump back to AIS. So you've got some more games coming up this weekend. And how's it been actually training there as well? So I feel like you, as a team, you've really been able to just immerse yourself in that arena. So I know we touched on it at the start of the pod, but yeah, I'm just curious of, what benefits have you seen it sort of come out in the team? Do you feel like sort of everyone's sort of playing with a bit more intensity? Has it affected and helped boost the mindset a little bit, having such an awesome arena?
Yeah, it's really exciting. Every training that we get to go there, it doesn't feel real. In the grand scheme of things, where we're playing ice hockey in Australia, but you feel like you're walking into an NHL arena, putting it lightly. So it's great. You've got all the rooms for physios and the media and all of that, and got great change rooms, and obviously playing in a rink with glass as well is a little bit different, and all the lighting changes. But look, we've played in a bunch of different rinks before, and so there's always an adjustment, particularly when the ice was only set. I think it was a week before the first game, so it was like playing on gravel a little bit at the start, but now since the ice is set, it's just unbelievable facilities. And look, there was, I can't even name the amount of volunteers and the work that the management did to pop that up in short amount of time as well. Was it was pretty awesome to see.
Excellent. So one thing we've got coming up tonight is the Melbourne Derby, and we talked about it just briefly before. Game 3, Melbourne Ice versus Melbourne Mustangs. Sean's incredibly beautiful artwork in front of us now. So everyone at home, we definitely encourage you to jump on to AIHL TV it's just under an hour now before that will kick off. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rivalries there. We spoke with Vinny Hughes a few weeks ago, and he's been having a lot of fun being back on the team and having that older core unit. So Sean, who do you think might score first tonight, Melbourne Ice or Mustangs?
Oh, that's hard. I'm gonna go Mustangs. I think Timmins is gonna score. He's been on good form.
Yeah. Look, with David Booth, he might get the first one or the second one.
Oh, I tell you what, last week
it's been pretty cool to watch.
It was insane how fast Booth is on the ice, considering his age and the other guys around him in comparable ages. He has such quick acceleration, and his skills are really good. So the Ice have really picked up a very good hockey player there. Did you have a chance, Alex, at all to watch the Ice's games last week?
Yeah. Watched. I think I watched a little bit of the first and a little bit of the second. Look, obviously a great player. He's racked up for 500 games in the NHL, and had a 30-goal NHL season. I think it's just even a privilege to be able to play against guys like this. You can view it. I think the AIHL is an interesting league in that sense, where the imports that come through have played really high professional leagues, and then they're playing against locals that maybe have. I think started playing hockey maybe 6 years before that. A lot of younger guys. So, but look, you can either shy away from it, or just take the opportunity. I think that's just it's great that we're able to play against quality players like that night in, night out. Yeah.
Well, that leaves us at the end of the show. Any final thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up Mark's comment here. Have finals dates been set? The dates definitely have been set, Mark. It is the final weekend of August. I can't quite remember what those dates are off the top of my head, but yeah, so there's the dates were definitely set at the start with the schedule, and they haven't changed. We're just waiting to hear on the location and the format of finals. I do believe that's quite imminent from the league. And here we go. Tori says tickets are on sale now. So fantastic. And there you go, Tori. 29th to 31st of August. Thank you.
And shout out to Tori for being able to watch for her first podcast for the season. So an avid podcast supporter. Thank you, Tori. Awesome. Apparently tickets went on sale at 5 p.m. today. So you've heard it first, AIHL fans. Tickets are on sale.
So yeah, everyone get on the AIHL, see where it is, and yeah, buy tickets. Final should be great. Yeah, she says 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, top 6. So with top 6, there's only 2 teams that will miss out. So Alex, you guys must be pretty confident then that you guys can make finals this year.
Mate, we don't even think about it. One game at a time.
Do you have any superstitions, Alex?
Oh, we'd be here all night. No, I used to be, was it Michael Scott? I'm just a little stitious sometimes. But yeah, I think when I relied too much on superstitions, it all went south. So got a few little secrets that I keep to myself, and apart from that, just try and get on the ice and have a bit of fun with my mates and win some hockey games. Yeah,
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for jumping in the comment section. We appreciate you. Thank you, Alex, for joining us this week. Really appreciate your time, and it's so fun to get the insights of players and to have you here to give us that little bit of insight to AIS Arena. If you guys have any thoughts or comments on graphics you've seen, jump on our Facebook. Let us know your thoughts, your favourite games that are coming up this weekend, any predictions that you have of your own. We'd love to hear from you in our social media channels. And we will be back again next week with another guest. Thank you for watching, commenting. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, Alex. See you, Courtney.